All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to our first webinar of the new year, 2026. We have comedian Jeremy Moody, who's going to be telling his story about what she calls laughing at YOPD, Young-Onset Parkinson's. And let me tell you a little bit about Jeremy. He is a writer, a storyteller, and a recovering academic whose music career was cut short by young-onset Parkinson's. He has leaned on his experience giving lectures and courses such as Life, Death, and Meaning to tell his story with an authentic voice with humor, blunt honesty, perspective, and vulnerability. He is currently based in LA, where he performs stand-up comedy, or as he calls it, fall down comedy. And he's also a performer at storyteller mics around town. He has written a television pilot inspired by his story and is completing an autobiographical solo stage show, which he will tell us about, called Them's the Shakes, Life, Love, and Parkinson's Disease. So welcome, Jeremy.
Hey.
Marina, can you take the thank you. First of all, I want to thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I want to thank you personally for being one of our wonderful comedians at our comedy show 2 months ago on November 8th, where we raised funds to send women to the World Parkinson's Congress. Thanks to everybody's generosity, all of the comedians who joined us and all of the people who donated, we are sending 28 women to the World Parkinson's Congress. These are all women who have never been before. So thank you to those who contributed, and thank you for those who are coming for the first time. You're going to have a blast. So with that, let's start our conversation. Jeremy, tell me about your diagnosis. And well, let's start with what were you doing before you were diagnosed? What you were teaching. He was a professor.
Oh. Yeah. Well, my academic background was Indo-Tibetan studies, a lot of Buddhist philosophy, Indian philosophy, stuff like that. I was teaching mainly world religions, like an intro course. I eventually switched because I was given stipends to create a course on cults and conspiracy theories. And I taught a course called Life, Death, and Meaning, which that was the course I enjoyed teaching the most. A lot of talk about death.
Okay, so you were teaching online courses.
Yeah.
And
well, originally I was in the classroom. COVID
Yeah.
allowed us to switch completely online, at least for me. That was good.
Yeah. And when did you start the transition to becoming a comedian?
Was it ever a transition?
I don't know.
I had years in front of a classroom having to kind of somewhat entertain 18, 19, 20-year-olds, right? So as I always joke, I've had a paying audience that were paying thousands of dollars to listen to my crappy jokes.
Yeah. Okay. And so when were you diagnosed with Parkinson's? When did your symptoms start? While you were teaching, I assume.
Yeah. It was 2017. Was when I was diagnosed, September 2017. The actual physical stuff started about within the year before. I was in a band, playing guitar. I was having issues holding the guitar pick, strumming, things like that. A lot of stiffness, a lot of those things. And I was just, maybe it was just stiffness from the road and things like that. And after a while, I started looking more and more into it. And then I started having issues swallowing. And that's when I got really nervous. And so when we ultimately got diagnosed, looking back, the warning signs were starting like in 2010 with like paranoia, OCD, just completely out of control. And at those times when I was in grad school, we couldn't figure it out. And so obviously when the diagnosis hit, that's when we're like, oh yeah, that's what it. And then when I thought back, anytime I jog and run, my right foot started on my right side, and my right foot was dragging and stuff. But yeah, it all made sense. We were, you know, on tour one night in Montreal watching bands play. It was just I had my hand was like all over the place with like a cup of water, and I was like, well, this is kind of weird. And the thing was is once I started talking particularly to my mom, she said, yeah, we've noticed for like the past few months the right side of your face was like drooping, and we didn't want to say anything to scare you because we thought you had a stroke. And I was like, well, thanks for that. So but yeah, and so got the diagnosis, and uh, just I say it in the show and stuff, and I was the whole time I was cracking jokes, like the doctor pokes her head in, she's like, do you have any things like gambling or sex addiction? I'm like, I bet you I don't. It's kind of like telling bad jokes, which I do. And of course, when I got the news, it was shocking. That was actually my second opinion. The first opinion, the first neurologist I saw, he went down the list of the things I didn't have, like a central tremor, and he was just like, explain why. He was like, you don't have epilepsy, explain why. And then he just says after a while, he's like, you don't have Parkinson's. And I was like, why? And he was like, you're too young. And I was just like, wait. I don't want Parkinson's. Nobody wants that. But like, I need more of a reason. I'm older than Michael J. Fox was when he was diagnosed. He's the face of this thing. And he started having me do all kinds of things. And he's like, it's weird. It looks like you have Parkinson's, but you're too young. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but have this. He wrote a prescription for barbiturates, and he's like, let's see if that works. And I was like, I don't like this. So yeah, then I made a second opinion at the VCU Parkinson's and Movement Center, which happens to be one of the top research centers in the world. My neurologist there, Dr. Leslie Cloud, is one of the top researchers. And so when I went in, I was, there was like kind of an expectation, right? Like, I'm in a Parkinson's and Movement Center. They're going to look at ALS, they're going to look at Huntington's and MS and everything. So I thought I had an expectation, and I think this is probably very familiar to someone. And and so, but when I got the news, I wasn't prepared, right? It's just blacked out. Like, at the time, our second record was about to come out. And we were planning like European, this is going to be the make or break tour for us, an album. And I went from like planning that tour to like, what is the rest of my life going to look like? And it was the whole cliche, right? They give you the pamphlet, and for me, no offense to anyone else, and not to be ageist or anything, but like, you look at this elderly couple kind of smiling, right? And I'm like, well, they've had a whole life. Mine, I still had some time, right? um and so I was like, are they laughing at me? Like, and I had to get everything together, and when I finally got myself together, got in the car, I called my mom. Right, like, that's the uh, for the first thing. And she's like, let's look on the bright side. And I'm like, uh okay, the bright side that I don't have Parkinson's and AIDS. And she she was not able to handle it. But it was for the next year, it was a lot of anger, and then depression. It was 4 months of just being angry, and then massive amounts of depression after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
How
then I
long?
had to find a way, right, to make jokes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. I mean, 4 months. I mean, many of us, I don't know about you. Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the same time, so that kind of took precedence over everything.
Mm.
But you come out of the depression, and for many of us, and I was one of those, it took me 5 years before I could really talk to people about it. And
Yeah.
I was borderline. I could have, I was diagnosed at 57, so she said it could be considered young onset, but it depends.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine having been diagnosed 10 years before or 20 years before,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's hard. It's hard for everybody in its own way. For me, I was still putting off having a family, right? Like I was in my 30s. These potential careers were happening, and I thought I had. At that point, I didn't, and it's just like, dating these days is hard enough. Like, try doing it without Back to the Future money, and yeah, and it still hurts. I mean, it's still, when you tell somebody for the first time, that look that they give you, and it's always like, for me, it's like, you're too young, and then immediately it's like, well, like again, well, Michael J. Fox, like, yeah, but he's Michael J. Fox. He's doing great work, but like, he's who he is. And it was, so I kept it quiet for about a year. I only told a few to walk, like it was that bad. And my doctor took the decision from me. And she's like, we're putting you on meds, which was great. And so, sorry about the background noise, guys. And so it was after a year, and then telling people, and like, you're right, it took you 5 years to kind of start being, I guess, comfortable with it. It actually took me probably until the past year to finally, even though I was open and honest, maybe 2 years ago. I guess I'll like jump ahead, but for me, it was, I guess I started really being comfortable with it. Actually, it was 2023, and in June of 2023, a lot of other stuff in my life. My niece was born almost a year after I was diagnosed, so she became my focus. June of 2022, or July of 2022, less than 2 weeks before her fourth birthday, we found out she had brain cancer. The sick irony of this person who's the reason why I live, has a cancer in her brain, In April 2023, the doctors at St. Jude got all the tumor out. There's no sign of the tumors to this day. And then June of 2023, and I didn't realize until I was actually doing the stage show that when I got the call from her dad, who's my best friend, was July 31st, 2022, the brain cancer. And it was when I was coming back from Philadelphia to Richmond, Virginia, where I'm from. And in June of 2023, almost a year later, I was back in Philadelphia and I met Michael J. Fox. And that was, for me, I always kind of, when I tell the story, it was embarrassing. I was going to tell him, obviously all the stuff like, thank you for everything you've done. Like, I was diagnosed. And when I told him, I was like, I was diagnosed back in 2017. And the look on his face was like, and excuse the language, but he was like, he's like, I'm sorry. And from him being like, and at that moment I lost it. I had thought I'd been vulnerable, telling people about it, but I just collapsed and just sobbed. It was because of the look in his eyes was sympathy, but it was also real empathy. Like, he's lived the life that I have up until this point,
but he's also lived the life that I'm going to live with this. And it was the first time I actually felt like somebody really obviously knew. And I just kept saying, I'm scared. That was the first time, and it was almost 6 years, that I actually was able to feel comfortable with not trying to, and I think this will be familiar for everyone, no matter their age, is when you tell somebody, you go into this mode to actually try to make them feel comfortable. Because everybody wants to help, but there's nothing we can do. Like, we're all doing everything we can do. We're doing the best job we can do. And to someone who doesn't have this disease, that doesn't think that, screw them, right? Because everybody on this call, you've made it farther than most of those people ever would. But so at that moment, I didn't have to protect him. And he probably gets this multiple times a day, but it allowed me. And then eventually he just told me, he's like, hey, we've got this. And he was like, one day at a time, just one day at a time, man. And that's when I was like, I'm going to live that way. We're all going to wake up every day in a very tiny box that this disease gives us. And every day it's going to get smaller and smaller. So we're going to decide every day to what extent we're going to do that, how much we're going to push that back. Some days we don't need to push that box. Some days it's okay just to rest, because we're fighting. I don't want to say we're fighting the fight, but we're living a life that unfortunately we've been handed. But at the same time, we're lucky enough to have it because of what matters. We know how to live, and we can appreciate that. Everybody was like, you got to sell yourself. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do this autobiographical stage play. And the whole thing, I didn't want to be the Parkinson's guy. Again, Michael J. Fox does a good job. Every good people. I just didn't want to be known for that. And then, of course, I come here and I start doing it. And Bob Siegel, Papa Robbie, we had a conversation, and we were like, I guess I'll be the Parkinson's guy. And I said, and I think that's the thing with any type of advocacy, but definitely something like this is you don't want to be the Parkinson's person, period. But at some point, you just have to decide that it's like, okay, I'll accept it and I'll move forward. And if it takes me being the Parkinson's guy or girl or whatever, then so be it.
Okay, so any advice you can give our friends who are online with us?
Not really, because every single one of you, live the life that you can through this, right? I hope that you all have good doctors and good support groups around you. I don't like doing the inspirational stuff, but it would be the same message, right? It would be one day at a time, right? Like live your life the way you want it, and or you can the good life, right? That's coming from a religion background. That's the idea of rabbinic Judaism, right? That's the idea of Buddhism in a way and stuff. It's just live a good life now, right? And appreciate it. And I think, again, that's what we have. But, if you wake up and you're tired, do what you can.
Yeah.
You're not quitting. You're not giving up. Push yourself to your limit, and it's okay. And laugh. Just laugh and cry and shit your pants. That's what I say. Everything's got to have the three elements of the human experience. You got to laugh, you got to cry, you got to shit your pants. And if you do those three things, you're a success. And I should check that for the Parkinson's community, because shitting our pants is almost a luxury with this constipation that we have, right?
Good, you got a joke in. Come on, give us do a little bit of your comedy for us,
Well, yeah, I
if
mean,
you
like I
want.
said, like, like the joke's always like when, you get diagnosed with this and everybody's like, what are you going to do now with your life? And I was like, I'll go to LA and try comedy. And they're like, stand up. And I'm like, all my jokes about Parkinson's more like fall down. Right. And the constipation thing, like, I was part of a drug trial that my doctor was researching. It was for constipation medication. And she was hoping it would work, and it didn't. And she's like, yeah, what it is, the nerves and stuff, the muscles stiffening. So you're not opening up and releasing because of the stiffness. So the medical term is you have a tight ass. And, but all my gay friends are like, you're the perfect guy. Kind of a little bit R-rated material right there, right? But like, it's early in the morning here Sunday.
Yeah, that's true. It's too early for the jokes. Oh well. Tell us about the stage play. Tell us about the play.
Like I said, so yeah, it's autobiographical. It's about the day I get diagnosed and then what happens next. It's ultimately, it's less of a story and more of a love letter to my best friend. It covers a period of time, pretty much when I got diagnosed, but that period in 2022 where on July 3rd, his actual brother, he's like my brother, like that's our closeness. His brother was killed in a shooting. And then 4 weeks almost to the days when we find out his youngest daughter, this girl who's my niece and just was the center of all of our lives, had brain cancer, and how we came through that. And it's about my love for him, and it's about my love for her, because they didn't choose this, right? That's one of the things that's very important. We didn't choose this, and the people who love us don't choose this. And they're going to be the ones that lose us slowly and have to take care of us. And they never asked for it. They never asked for anything in return. And so it's a love letter to them. It's a love letter to meaningful relationships and family, and how important they are, and how life gives you. It's going to give you no-win situations. And it's about the people who don't run, and they just sit there with you in the moment, right? When I always tell people, it's scenes in it. One example is back in June, I went through like 3 or 4 days and my hands just wouldn't stop. And I'm like, maybe, as you all know, it's like, is this a new normal? And so I called him and I said, he's like, what's up? And I was like, my hands won't stop moving. I guess it's been like 3 or 4 days. And he was like, and then we sat there in silence on the phone for 40 minutes until I was okay. And I said, all right, I'm good. He was like, I love you. And I was, love you too. And that's what I talk about. That's the empathy. It's not when somebody's like, what can I do? What can I do? It's about sitting there and acknowledging in that silence that there's nothing we can do. We're scared together, but we're not going anywhere. It's to the end. And so that's what I wanted to show, because of, while I can tell the world how great these people are, I'm going to in every way I can. And like for my niece, she'll eventually forget a lot of the great stuff. And I want to have something that says how much she mattered and what was real. And so she can always have that. And maybe if people can take from that, again, about human connection and real connection of what matters, then hey, it works.
Yeah. I think that's what's so wonderful about having friends with Parkinson's, because we can sit with each other and we can empathize. We really do know what you're going through.
yeah, like I said, that's what, the Michael J. Fox experience, right? No sharing the notes and stuff. It's at some point we just want to know that people are like, it doesn't get better, but that doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter that it doesn't get better. It's just how you accept now and how you live it now while you can. And it's, again, like I said, it's a bad hand that we get dealt. But at the same time, like I said, it's years of studying Buddhism. Nothing has taught me Buddhist patience better than Parkinson's disease. Nothing has taught me that it's okay to let it go. One of the kind of weird phrases that I say is, before I had Parkinson's, well, now that I have Parkinson's, the things I used to think mattered don't. And the things that I thought didn't matter are actually the biggest things.
Yeah. Okay. Let's open it up to questions. If you have a question, put your hand up or put it in the chat, and I will read it. Whatever you want to do. Anybody? Okay, Marilyn.
Hey, Marilyn.
Unmute yourself, Marilyn. You're on mute.
There we go. Okay. A lot of echoing. I'm sorry. So nice to see you, Jeremy.
Nice to see you.
I want to hear more about your one-man show and when it is, where it is. We want people to come out and see you. So it's really important you get the info out there. And I don't know yet, so I can't tell anybody.
I'll see you later today, right? Wednesday, we start the actual working on it. We had our meeting the other night, and Wednesday we start the rehearsal stuff. So we're going to nail it down on Wednesday. It's at a small studio that also has a black box theater set up off Sunset. And as soon as I have that information, I'll give you a share. And then obviously you and Bob will be probably the first. You, Bob, and Sharon will be the first people. And Joel, let's not forget Joel in the background.
Oh, yeah. Say hello. Yeah, and once he gets me the information, I will put it out on my website. If you're in LA and you can make it, that would be terrific. Do you know are they charging for the tickets?
We probably will, right? Yeah. And we'll figure all that out.
Okay. So, but you should know in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay.
I see Samantha asked, what do I do every day that brings me joy? For me personally, I it's more along the lines of if things are kind of wonky or not going great. I just think for me, there's a 7-year-old little girl that doesn't have tumors in her brain anymore. I mean, that's a small thing. But in general, it's the fact that I'm still here. And I'm able to still tell my story and still hear other people's stories. And I can see puppies and pet puppies and stuff. And again, every day is meeting people like Sharon. Like, again, Parkinson's would never have brought me to LA, would never have brought me, I never would have met Bob and Marilyn and Sharon and so on.
Okay. All right, Karen? You have your hand up. Unmute yourself.
Hello. I'm really sad I missed the show now more than ever. But really inspiring. So much of your story, the time span and everything is so familiar. I'm just curious. Can you still play music? And what was your band name? Or is it?
So I can't play guitar anymore. And I've tried, sorry about the helicopter.
I'm sorry for
Uh,
asking for that, but yeah, my son plays guitar, and this
Yeah.
is a big worry for me because he's 34, and yeah, certain things are similar.
Yeah, I mean, Michael J. Fox still can, and that's great for him.
Yeah.
I put all that energy into writing now, and I'm having fun with that. Trying to think of new crappy jokes to tell for cheap laughs. Music just doesn't have the same, and that maybe it's part of my kind of still dealing with it. You know, when I finally moved out here, I finally started selling my stuff that had been sitting there for like 7 or 8 years. And it was a way of me accepting that that part of my life is over. I still got to tour, right? I still got to make records. I still spent a lot of times with crappy bands with some of my best friends, you know? And some people don't even get to do that, right? And now, like, I'll get up and do a mic or do some stand up with people like Bob, and I'll do a storytelling thing, and it doesn't matter if anybody claps or laughs or anything like that. It's just I'm trying it. There's so many people that have no Parkinson's, nothing, and they're so scared to even try to do it because they have a voice inside of their head. Well, guess what? That voice is going to be silent for us because our brain is kind of dying there, right? So just do it. Just do the thing, right? And now more than ever, right? Now,
storytelling does it. I'm a yes and exercise person with the hypnotherapy and everything. So yeah, storytelling does do it. I picked that up at this phase of life when a lot of things I can't do anymore either. So awesome story. Thank you for sharing it, and keep going. Music's a sad thing, I get it, but how you've been able to reframe your whole outlook is really inspiring. I can't wait to share it with this one guy that was newly diagnosed. I wish I could have talked him into plugging in today, but he's definitely going to get this recording. Thank you.
Part of my joke is like, you know, right now, like, just to not politicize anything, but like, things are about to get tough. People are losing their jobs. Most of us have lost jobs. We've had to do these pivots. I'm doing this pivot into whatever this is out here in LA. And part of the reason why I'm not really that stressed, because again, bad Parkinson's joke, likely the next pivot I'm going to make is into the grave anyways. So it doesn't matter if I succeed or fail. This is it.
Well, this is the now or never mentality, and we got to tap into that too. Get busy living or get busy dying is a big thing.
Yeah, when you finally pivot into Parkinson's guy, there's not many more pivots you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've kind of since 23 being the Parkinson's chick as loud as I can be, and thank you, Sharon, for helping me do that too.
Okay. All right. Next question, Andrea.
Good morning, all. Greetings. First of all, kudos to Jeremy for, having the courage to tell your story. A couple things. Birds of a feather flock together. Thank you, Sharon, for continuing the host. I discovered Sharon when it started COVID, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to share one thing that a lot of people just in common, not just people with Parkinson's, but, if we're writing a story, we have the right to be the hero in that story. It's okay. Be kind to ourselves as you would your best friend. I mean, you talk about your best friend being there for you, those 40 minutes. I mean, that's the gift that we can give each other. And also, today is good. There's nothing I can do about yesterday. And really, how much can I do about tomorrow? Tomorrow's not promised. I've got today. And if I can love and be loved, hallelujah. We are here. We are here. We're here for one another. And I get it. That look that Michael J. Fox must have given you, Jeremy, I get that, and we're here for one another. And for those of you that are still able to, I invite you, go to the Congress in Phoenix, be among your people. I'm one of the volunteers. I got to volunteer in Barcelona. It is an awesome experience to be among people and give each other hope and just see one another, support one another, and just be there for one another. I mean, you know, what else do we got? We've got today, and thank you. Thank you so much for each and every one of you being here present today.
Yeah, and I kind of should add, because I didn't say this earlier, when I came here to LA, like the first month, I actually met Bert Goldstein, right? Co-creator of Shrinking. His father has Parkinson's, right? And so I was thanking him for the show and what they're doing with that show. And that's when I was joking at the time, and I said, I'm thinking about doing a one-man show called Dims to Shakes. And he just laughed. He's like, that's brilliant. You have to do it. And I was like, well, if Roy Kent says I have to do it, I have to do it. And then later, I met Ashley Nicole Black, one of the main writers on Shrinking. And then she revealed to me that she's like, I wrote the Michael J. Fox episode that's coming in season 3. And she too, because the discussions I really had with her and everyone else is usually when the reality of what this disease is, and it's specifically from a Young-Onset point of view. Because the interesting thing, again, Michael J. Fox was diagnosed at 29. And we know what the signs are. So if you go back and look at his Back to the Future 3 and 2, you could see he was showing years before. The symptoms were there. But the perspective is never really from that angle, right? It's never, it's never that. And that's what everybody was telling me. And that's the thing with the TV show. Like, again, Papa Robbie, like, looked over my pilot, and then he called me. He's like, when I read it, he was like, where's the jokes? I thought this was a sitcom. And I'm like, there's jokes there, but this is a reality. It's going to be real. It's going to be honest. It's not necessarily going to be inspirational the way people think, like, oh, let's be happy. It's going to show the reality, the pain of this. And again, like I said, it's Remy Moses, who's directing the stage show, when she first approached me because she saw me do some segments, one of the first things she said is I hope there's a happy ending. And I said, I still have Parkinson's. It's a perfect ending, because it's like, again, like I said before, we're going to get no-win situations. It's about who we go through it with, how we look at it with dignity and grace, and how we move forward and accept what we can accept and take advantage of now.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Nobody? Okay. Let me think what else I have to ask you. I want to hear more about these classes you were teaching. They sound fascinating.
Well, yeah. World Religions is your basic world religions course, right? I started off, I talked about the aspects of what religion's supposed to have. Like, we talk about myth and ritual, how religions deal with death and dying, evil, the concept. And we do like Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. The cult and conspiracy theories thing was, everybody's so interested in it. It's like, well, the research I had to do, it's kind of depressing. And in that course, I was teaching internet fact checking. That was part of teaching students how to look at conspiracy theories and how to fact check it and false information. The life, death, and meaning one was the one that I just enjoyed doing. I taught as a contemplative courses where students would have to kind of think about or meditate and then write a journal about it. And we started talking about the different death rituals or myths in other cultures, from like the Tibetan sky bearer and so on. And then we talk about the ethical issues of death and dying in America. And we would talk to that, and we had a section on, like, say, physician-assisted suicide, where I don't tell them to support something or not. That's for them to decide. I don't push anything. But in that lecture, I open up about my diagnosis and how I had to think about, how do I want to die? Because the whole point was, you're at a pivotal point in your life. How do you want to live it? Right? You're going to college. Is this something you want to spend the rest of your life with? Because the point, again, is, do you want to be the person that when you're facing death, you're begging for more chances and you have regrets, or do you want to die with dignity and grace? And so figure that out now. Live that meeting.
So did you find that this helped you to cope with your diagnosis?
Yeah. I would have students that would write in their journals, I feel like this is therapy. And I'm like, this is, yeah. And I was like, it's beneficial for us. Teaching to me wasn't about lecturing, it was conversational. And that's how I lectured. Like, I didn't stand in front of the room. I would move in the room. I would have them have conversations with the material and me. And that's how people stay engaged. And that's how you learn easier. And so, and teaching, if I don't learn something, it's pointless for me. It's pointless for them. It's pointless for everyone. So I miss teaching. I don't miss academia. You know, and again, it's been tough. Like, you know, again, what happened this past week in Minnesota, I don't want to get political, but that was a student from my university. And I don't have my records. I don't want to say for sure, but I think she was one of my former students.
Wow.
But I can't say for sure, but she was at our university. She was in our College of the Humanities. And so there was that. And so I worry so much for all of my students, regardless of whether or not they agree or disagree with me. My job is to help navigate them, to be as open and be, you know, a decent human being, regardless of their politics. And so I worry whether, you know, we all worry whether or not we're doing a good job. And one of the things that I do not miss is that feeling of responsibility and have to give answers. Again, I'm at a state now, there's a 7-year-old girl that doesn't have brain cancer, you know, like, so I've been able to let that go. But I do still miss that interaction and learning. I miss the learning.
Yeah. Okay, a few questions from the chat. What was your band's name?
It's great. You guys are going to love this. First of all, it's an instrumental band, 10-minute long songs, no lyrics. Gets very loud at times, but the name of the band is you know, I think you guys will get it. It's Everyone Dies in the End.
That's the name of the band.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. My son's band was Manipulated Prosperity. So yeah, I get it. I just, everything you're saying, I love your spirit. And because you didn't have kids, I'm sure you feel like your students were your kids, and I get where you're coming from there too. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, again, that was kind of just sad for me is noticing, I would have students in their 30s in tears at the end of the semester. And this kind of goes to what we've been talking about, and that's what Parkinson's helps us get over, is they would tell me that I was the first adult in their life that said it was okay to fail. And I was like, it's not okay to fail. You have to fail. It's mandatory. That's how you learn. And again, Parkinson's allows us, we just get, every day we have to let go of some of that pride, and we have to just put ourselves out there, because we literally are going to have to fall and pick ourselves up again. right? So if that's the case, then I can go and tell some crappy jokes and bomb and be like, you know what? It's all right because I can still speak. I still got up there and did it. And by the way, there's, again, people that don't have anything going on that are so afraid to do that.
Well, that's
And
where
that's sad.
well, in our improv classes, we celebrate failure with a battle cry of "Auga, yay! We failed.
Yeah.
It's okay," and we just roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just looking through, and a lot of the questions or comments are about gratitude and what we are grateful for, and having something every day that you are grateful for. And I think it makes such a difference it just turns your whole viewpoint around. As many of you all know, 2 months ago I fractured my wrist, and I'm grateful today because I don't have to wear a brace anymore. Yay! But having the third injury in 4 years from a fall, I'm now considered a big fall risk, and I had to reevaluate everything I was doing. And I think I walked fine. My doctor said, "No, you're not walking fine if you're falling that much." And it's like moving to the next stage of your life and having to cope with that, and find but what am I grateful for in the same time? As I'm feel like I'm going downhill, I can't dwell on that. I have to come up with something positive to keep me moving forward.
Yeah.
So
Sharon, you say you can't walk fine. That one day you outran me across the street.
that's true. Yeah. But she says, take a cane with you. And I'm like, oh, really? I need a cane that looks like this at the top, my scepter. So, oh well. All right. Well, Jeremy, thank you. I think that was pretty much all the questions. I'm going to bring our slides back up and finish. We're going to wrap up a little bit. And then if you want to stay on afterwards, for anybody that wants to talk, you're welcome to. So next up, I just got this yesterday. Julie Fitzgerald, who is also an ambassador for the World Parkinson's Congress, has written a book called The Secret Switch. It is a story about Parkinson's, love, and the power of questions, and it is for children. Children's book about the grandmother who had DBS surgery. That is The Secret Switch. And she will be talking about her new book. And I put the QR code in if you want to take a screenshot, if you want to take a look at it. But this is for everybody. If you have children or grandchildren who you want to read this book to, please join us. I think it will be really interesting, a lot of fun. Okay, next page, next slide. Okay, there was talk about the World Parkinson's Congress. Yes, how many of you are going? Yay. Early registration closes next Friday. The price will go up from $300 a person to $400 a person. If you are considering going, I would register now. You can always drop out if you have to. So the registration is on this slide. You can just Google WPC2026.org and you can get to the registration page. And we have a WhatsApp group for everybody who's going. You can send your contact information to Elisa Huntington. There is no dot between Elisa and Huntington. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there, but it's all one word, elisahuntington@me.com. She's running our WhatsApp group, and we will be start sending out notices, as we get closer.
Hey, Sharon, I'm actually here. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about it.
Go ahead.
I have 15 members on there now. And if you don't see yourself and you've already contacted me, let me know. Because I was getting like 5 every day. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I have everything.
Yeah, because that's where you're going to be able to get your information about what we are doing at the World Parkinson's Congress. We are hoping to have a reception, maybe in conjunction with another group, maybe before the opening plenary. I'm not sure what we're doing yet. If you want to help plan it, please let me know. We did a dinner last year afterwards. We're not going to do that again. This will be something on the line of appetizers or desserts. And we're also going to have a table for where the partnering organizations sit, and we will have a table, and we will be able, that will be our meeting place. So your badge, when you register, put Twitchy Woman as your organization. And the last time what was happening was people were coming up to everybody in our group, seeing the Twitchy Woman on our badge and going, "You're famous, you're famous." So we made quite a splash last time, and I know we had about close to 50 last time. We're going to have a bigger group this time because we have 28 women coming for the first time, thanks to everybody who contributed to the scholarship fund, and which is a phenomenal feat. So for those of you who are joining us as a scholarship grantee, thank you for applying. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody there in person. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to call me, email me. It's a giant party is what it is. We party for 4 days. Right, Elisa? Yeah. So, okay, next slide. This is about Turn 2, the subscription service with AI for Parkinson's. It happens to be very good. If you're interested, you can sign up. It's $2 a week. I think it's $100 for the year, something like that. And next slide is we have 2 discussion groups, one on Sunday mornings for Parkies Without Partners, and one on Tuesday mornings with Shelley Savoy. And Shelley, I don't think she's on, but she's been doing a great job. She's been running this group for quite a while. And I think that is it with our slides.